I'm with Chris Dewar, only on KHQA.
Well, this is Saturday, October the 29th, and you have indeed entered overtime, true believers. There are 52 Saturdays on your sports calendar. This one, in my humble opinion, reigns supreme. Granted, my high school football bias may be showing a bit here because this day of all days is pure gridiron rapture, the first weekend of the IHSA playoffs. But that is just scratching the surface tonight. We start our amazing odyssey on the soccer pitch, where Quincy High School sought to avenge its bitterest defeat in a decade, and the Quincy Notre Dame Raiders sought to hoist state championship gold, taking on the defending state champs tonight at the Corn Crib. First half of this game, a scoreless affair, plenty of defense. The offenses took some time to get going, but it would be Quincy Notre Dame's offense that would spark to life first behind Andrew Allen on the wing. This kid has been unbelievable the last couple of weeks. You will see him set the ball in motion, and eventually a crossing shot right here into the box is going to end up at the foot of Alex Ranella, and he is going to punch it home. 45 minutes deep into this ball game, the Raiders had the first lead by anybody in this game at 1-0. It would take another 20 minutes before we saw another ball hit the back of the net, and again it would be the Raiders, and again it would be Alex Ranella, who was having his Baseball Digest night I'll never forget night as he pounds home the volley to give his team the ultimate lead for good. Your Quincy Notre Dame Raiders are your state champions tonight, dethroning the way you should the defending state champs. 2-0. Congratulations to Greg Reese, Chris George, Dave White and company on the outstanding victory tonight. Our Joe Morano was there. He will have complete highlights coming up for you tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, plus post-game wrap. And coming up on Monday, you can celebrate the Raiders championship yourself as well. It will be a heck of a Halloween at 10th and Jackson. Fire truck ride scheduled from the from the Kmart parking lot, I believe, at 1 o'clock, and then the pep rally at the pit at 1:45 to see the state champs. That's 2 weeks, 2 state champs. Congratulations to Quincy Notre Dame Soccer, which follows suit with Palmyra Softball. Could it be 2 state championships in the Gem City for soccer? Quincy High School trying to stay alive in the round of 16 today against a team that beat them earlier this season, and this is pretty. Look at Blake Herman putting the ball up. The keeper gets a touch on it, but there, my friends, is Bronson Melvin to get a cranium touch on it in return, giving his team the early 1-0 lead. That would loom large. Moline feeling plenty of pressure on offense, trying to get something mounted. They just couldn't seem to do that against Logan Kelly. Remember, Mr. Kelly missed the last game, the first meeting between these two teams, with an injury. The keeper benefited from an early 2-0 lead. Look at Blake Herman. This is the killer crossover a la Allen Iverson, and the punch home with the left foot. Upper 90 he goes, and away go the Quincy Blue Devils as they go. Dance a little, Blake. Go ahead. The Blue Devils get revenge. Oh yeah, we're not supposed to use the R word this week? You betcha, it was revenge. Nevertheless, the Blue Devils get the win and advance on. 2-1 is your final. Up next for Quincy High School, a showdown on Tuesday back at Naperville against Naperville Central, who was a 1-0 winner this evening over Naperville North. Again, that game scheduled for 6 o'clock, so that should be a dandy as well. Quincy High School just 1 win away from a trip to state. Well, with a perfect 9-0 record during the regular season, Central Southeastern has stamped itself as perhaps Western Illinois' best hope for a trip to Champaign on the gridiron. The road to glory for the Panthers, which started today at home, will not be an easy one, as we found out against Athens today. You know what? It wasn't maybe an artistic effort by Brad Dixon's team, but it certainly was effective. Started off on the right foot anyway, with a heaping helping of this guy, Nathan Knuffman, probably having his best, most effective game running the football with over 120 yards on the ground, including this touchdown to spot his team to a 7-0 lead. Athens, though, would tie the score on a 1-yard run here by Brandon Weiss, and then after a Central turnover immediately following, it would be Brandon Weiss again, this time hooking up with the wide receiver Jeremiah Taylor, who benefits from a falling down cornerback at this point to break his way into the end zone for the score. And that, my friends, would start the upset alert tweets, at least on everybody's phone or social media, because everybody was saying, what the heck's wrong with Central Southeastern? They're losing. Well, it didn't last long. This, my friends, a miscue by Athens, a punt that goes over the head for a safety, makes it at that point 14-9. More to come right here. The ground game starting to work behind Garrett Kestner, and then this guy, Jonah Cogshaw, who goes in for the 1-yard score to give his team the lead back, one which they would never relinquish. Cogshaw out from 1 yard out. Then we've got Nathan Knuffman adding to the tally as well with a 46-yard field goal, one off the longest field goal in school history, which is owned by Nathan Knuffman, who had a 47-yarder earlier this season. More to come right here. Again, great running game as Athens, despite all of their size, eventually wear out. Garrett Kestner with the nice run. That sets up, once again, the big fella. That, my friends, is Jonah Cogshell, actually the big quarterback, picking up his own fumble and kind of doing the spin-a-rama move to get some nice yardage. That sets up Nathan Knuffman, who would go in for the score. Central Southeastern averts any kind of talk of upsets and gets the win to advance, knocking off Athens 27-14. Up next, a showdown with Williamsville, who was a winner last night, big time. Take a look at that score, 56-28. Heard a lot about the quarterback Nick Rossetti. Apparently, he showed up big last night with 100 yards passing and 100 yards rushing. That game has already been set for next Saturday at 2 o'clock at Camp Point Central. Let's move on to 3A now, where it was the Macomb Bombers doing work. We told you this week that Macomb was going to beat St. Teresa. St. Teresa's run game not very good, or at least defensively. That, my friends, is Tyler LaFortune living it up against it. A 39-yard touchdown to start things off. You know what? It took a while for the outstanding running back Shavon Joyner to break through for Decatur St. Teresa against Macomb's vaunted defense. And Macomb's defense good all day long, as you will see right here. Joyner with just that one touchdown. Here's Reed Fulkerson with the interception for his team as well. Macomb just absolutely houses the folks from St. Teresa today. Huge day from Chris Jackson on the ground. Macomb gets the victory, and by virtue of that, Macomb will be home next Saturday by virtue of the 40-14 win over St. Teresa. Remember, Macomb, the lower seed, the underdog in this game. Huge win for them. Up next for them, the winner of Beardstown and Georgetown today. And right off the bat, it was the Beardstown defense making its presence felt behind the All-Stater at this point. That, my friends, is the outstanding Wes Carlock. More defense to come right here. The passing game not working for Georgetown, as well as Bubba Patterson comes up with a nice swat away at that point. That would set up this. Joey Luna about to find some yardage, some hard yards in the red zone, but they work for him in for the score, giving his team a 14-7 lead at that point. It would be an answer from Georgetown, the Buffaloes, looking to Corey Vire, who runs like a loose renegade buffalo at that point, in for the score to tie the thing up at 14 apiece. Beardstown goes back to the air. This time it's Sam Hardwick looking again for Bubba Patterson. That kid can just flat fly. The youngster with a nice grab right here on down into the red zone, and that would set up Wes Carlock from just 2 yards out to give his team a 21-14 lead. That is how the first half would end. Beardstown, though, finds itself in a bit of a quandary at the end of the first half. They're going to get some defense here, though, to get out of it, as Bryce Gibson comes up with a nice quarterback sack. We go to the second half right here, and all of a sudden we've got some trouble. If you're a Beardstown fan, this is Matt Hay taking it to the house, cutting to the left, getting on the sidelines, and just burning down the rails at that point. Cutting the lead to 21-20. Two-point conversion attempt would fail. So again, Georgetown down by 1 point. Austin Jones trying to keep the defense going. Nice tackle for loss in the backfield here. But with 4 minutes left in the game, Corey Vire, again, this is a phenomenal run on 3rd and long. He's going to break free of about 3 tackles to make his way into the end zone, giving his team a 27-21 lead. It is on. Oh, it is on for Beardstown to try and come back in this ball game. And you know who's going to come up big? Alex Miles, your unlikely hero, with a phenomenal run up the stretch. Just another of those great running backs the Tigers have to make it a 28-27 game. You know what? Beardstown's going to need some defense down the stretch a couple of different times. Delaney Ortiz is going to provide right here, as you will see Georgetown in the red zone. Just a field goal away from tying this thing up, or actually taking the lead, I should say. But Beardstown averted the danger, forcing 2 missed field goals in the final 2 minutes of this ball game. Beardstown moving on. They will go to Macomb next weekend for what should be a dandy all-local showdown in the second round of the 3A playoffs. More for you now. Brown County, the Hornets at home against Lewiston. This, my friends, simply pinning by numbers. Tom Little's team doing exactly what it is they do best. Pick it up with his team already up 7-0. This is an Austin Gooding Luke Bragg sandwich, and the condiment of choice is pain. Austin Gooding is just a beast. Kid in beast mode, angry. You don't want to make that kid angry. He's just going to hurt you. More to come right here. Ricky Logsdon taking the hand up right here. Going to take the little counter, and he's going to counterbalance things with a 50-yard touchdown to make it 14-0 at that point. Oh, you know what? More of Austin Gooding to come as well. This kid, a surefire Defensive Player of the Year candidate in our area. As you will see Lewistown threatening at this point. You're barely going to see Gooding come into the picture, but he's going to hit the Lewistown Indian quarterback just as he releases, and that, my friends, is going to thwart a scoring attempt, and that was a just vicious hit. Gooding brings it right there. How about the Brown County offense trying to get some things going? Tim Woodward going to go to the air with his team and his team's back to the wall. Going to find Justin Volk right here with a nice pickup through the air, and the Brown County offense is going to find its groove at that point. More Rick Logsdon, who was running well all day long. Mr. Logsdon about to get a big pickup, I should say, to set the wheels in motion for more of that Brown County offense. Mr. Logsdon following a nice block there from Mr. Gooding as well, doing his own work as he steps out of a tackle there, steps out of another one there, cuts back across the grain, picks up about 22 yards at that point, and that would set up this. Tim Woodward about to go to the air and find a wide open Alex Shepard breaking free for another touchdown at this point. This all second half highlights now after the 14-0 lead at the half. Mr. Woodward, beautiful pass off play action, and there is Sheppy in for the score as well. Alex Shepard, though, not done making his presence felt as the Brown County defense just absolutely suffocated Lewiston today. You will see more of it here as Mr. Shepard going to come up with a great interception to cap things off. Brown County gets the win going away in this game. Brown County knocks off Lewiston by the final count in this game, as you will see huge. 31-7, I believe, is how that one would end up. Up next for Brown County, the winner of today's West Central Toledo Cumberland game. The Cougars touting themselves as WIVC South champions, and why not? They should be proud of that. Great defense all day long from Nick Graham's team, starting right here from Austin Bays, taking away a potential touchdown with that bat away at that point. More interception fun to come right here. Adam Weeder with the interception as well. The Cougars defense making a big stand. However, Nick Graham's offense was non-existent for the most part today. Jordan Bays trying to go to the air, trying to find something, trying to create a little catalyzing action. Austin Miller's there for the interception at that point for Cumberland. Austin Bays, though, going to answer. And this, my friends, might be your play of the week. Bays with a one-handed interception. Are you kidding me? Look at this. One-handed snare away from everybody. We'll slow it down and show it to you again so you can appreciate it like a fine wine. Mr. Bays showing off the dexterity, I guess, for lack of a better word. Good stuff for him right there. No good stuff all day for the Cougar offense. Just two bits of good stuff all day for the Cumberland offense, both of them provided by the quarterback, Kendall Butler. First, he's going to score from 1 yard here and give his team a 6-0 lead. That is how the first half would end. In the second half, he would add a much longer touchdown scamper of his own accord, and Kendall Butler would be the difference in this game. Kendall Butler 12, West Central 0 on the day, as West Central's unbelievably fine season ends at 7-3, so it will be Cumberland hosting Brown County next weekend, so that should be an interesting showdown, though, going into this. I think I like Brown County the way they played today. One more 1A game to show you today. Rich Thompson's #1 ranked Triopia Trojans hosting their arch rivals Jacksonville Route, already up in this game, 14-0, thanks to a pair of Jansen Yale touchdowns. The defense going to go to work right here. John Love is a quarterback-killing machine sent back from the future to destroy and wreak havoc. Yet another sack for that kid. I think he's on his way to all do-or-die team honors. Another one there. How about 4th and 1, Jonah Wayland? He's going to make that 4th and 1 work for him very nicely with a 29-yard touchdown scamper to put his team up at that point 21-0. Triopia just in seek and destroy mode today. More defense to come. This time it's going to be the big freshman, Jordan Smith, in the middle of everything. Part of a combined quarterback sack right here. Tough day to be Nick Lonergan. He takes some pain right there. And that would set up this. Tanner Huddleston going to drive his team. Hi there. Going to drive his team on down into the red zone. Mr. Huddleston going to look for the pass. He's going to keep it, rumble in. He's going to take a big hit at the end of this. Still manages to break the plane and give his team a 28-0 lead at that point. More to come. Mr. Huddleston going to do it a little more. Hey, John Love going to signal since we can't get one from the officials. Tanner Huddleston going to do this one more simply this time and not risk any bodily harm. Going to the air for a wide open John Love off play action. Pretty stuff as Triopia just looks unbelievably sharp today, beating Route 47-0. That, I believe, was 4 straight losses for Route to end the season. Actually, 5 straight as Route finishes 5-5. Triopia moving on. They will host Gibson City Melvin on, I believe, Saturday of next week. Gibson City a winner today, 31-8 over Abingdon. And speaking of Triopia, the news not good for one of our favorite Triopia alums. Dustin Jacoby making his UFC debut tonight on the undercard. Lost all 3 rounds, depending upon who you listen to. Lost by unanimous decision to Clifford Starks, although it is a start for Dustin Jacoby and somewhere he can build from, so we'll hope for better from him in the future. But congratulations to Dustin, I should say, for making it all the way to Vegas. Well, speaking in TV talk, that was a large, quality A-block worth of highlights, but my job is only a quarter done. Up next, we've got volleyball and cross-country business on tap, plus a potential watershed moment for the rising Illinois college football program. That when overtime continues. And welcome back to Overtime, everybody. Thanks to its breakthrough victory over arch nemesis Rockbridge on Tuesday, the Hannibal Lady Pirate volleyball squad found itself today with a chance to qualify for state. They had to win the first order of business, a brutal sectional draw in Jefferson City against Ozark. We take you there because volleyball is important. Ozark, very good team, outstanding outside hitters, I was told. We will see that in a second. But Hannibal making its presence felt early in this match. Catherine Allen with a nice spike down at that point. Points, though, hard to come by for the Lady Pirates today. We mentioned the big outside hitters. This is Megan Stacy with a nice throwdown for Ozark, which would win game number 1 today by the final count of 25-12. More to come in this one. This time it is the ace serve. And then it's Jackie Fugate, who just absolutely rips as well for Ozark as she kills another one right there. Hannibal never really found any traction in this match, losing the second game 25-10. But how about those Lady Pirates finishing the year with 23 victories, a district title, their first in almost 2 decades, and everybody on the team is coming back next year, all underclassmen. Great job in America's hometown. Let's talk some cross country today. Westview Golf Course temporarily turned into a cross country venue for the Quincy High Sectional. Class 3, I can tell you no locals of note in this one. We can tell you who the winners were on the boys and girls side. Individually, it was Sydney Neal of O'Fallon with a very fast time on the girls side of 18:07. On the boys side, your winner was Garrett Sweat of Edwardsville, 14:52, which was an amazingly fast time as well. So congratulations to all the competitors there. We do have some better news from distance. Start in Missouri, where the Marion County girls and boys, well, they finished second each in districts. Your low finisher for each squad. On the girls side, Randy Lee Plunkett, who was 14th, and Brian Tucker from Marion County, who was 6th on the day. Also a Hannibal. Well, they can't get through as a team, the Pirates, on either the boys or the girls side, but they are sending a nice contingent off to state. Brady Novak finishes 3rd today in the district. Abby Jeffries on the girls side finishes 5th right there. And back in Illinois, congratulations to Luke Watson of Quincy Notre Dame, who becomes the first Raider on the boys side ever to qualify for the state meet. He finished 9th today in the loaded Elmwood sectional. No Karen Paisley from Macomb, who ends up having a phenomenal career, but she is the last person left out individually. So the Macomb outstanding sophomore will not be making it to cross-country state this year, which seems like a bit of a travesty because her times were good enough to qualify her from just about every other sectional in the state. We've got more for you now. Let's do some scores today. Football, I mentioned Illinois College. We tried to get there today, kids, because we wanted to see Illinois College match its school season record for wins with 8, which they did today. Unfortunately for us, we just could never get any highlights today out of the West Central game to get back over there. I can tell you it was a great day for the Thompson family. You saw Rich and Triopia winning big today. Brock Thompson, just a monster day. His nephew from Illinois College with 5 touchdown receptions. That's unbelievable, and just an unbelievable day with 211 yards, so good for him. Also, Quincy University gets back Bobby Bernison. Doesn't make much of a difference against St. Francis today as the number 12 team in the nation beats the Hawks, who are finally at home for a change. 34-7 was your final there. The news not really good on any front from here on out. Lindenwood, who's moved up to Division II. Culver Stockton scores a couple of touchdowns thanks to the passing prowess of Matt Herman, but just not nearly enough against Lindenwood. Brock Reed, the Palmyra product and company, just wreaking havoc on the Wildcats today. Also, boy, Western Illinois has fallen off a cliff in a hurry. They lose to Youngstown State on the road. 56-14 is your final there. We've got some soccer for you tonight. Quincy University women in action in the GLVC tournament. They are hosting tonight against Rockhurst. First half, all about the defense. Most of this game, all about the defense as well, and the tending of the net, courtesy of Jody Chappie, who was really, really good on the night. She stood on her head, did not allow a goal. Quincy's only goal of the night came from Megan Wingenbach, who had it at the 62-minute mark, and that's the difference in the ball game as Quincy University gets the win by the final count of 1-0 to advance on in the GLVC tournament. The news good for the Quincy University men as well as they beat Lewis 2-1 is your final in a match just completed. More soccer as well today. Culver Stockton men and women losers to both Baker, or both lose to Baker, I should say. 4-0 on the women's side, 5-0 on the men's side. We've got more news coming up for you when overtime continues. And welcome back to Overtime. It is a competitive, sometimes cutthroat business, which is why it's always kind of heartening to see basketball coaches gather together in the true spirit of fellowship and education and genuinely share ideas and concepts. Well, thanks to the Coaching Brain Trust at Quincy University, we had one of those such moments today as a host of area coaches of all levels of basketball got a chance to pick the minds of some incredibly successful skippers, including among them Bruce Weber and one-time Quincy University, now Western Michigan boss, Steve Hawkins. For the clinicians themselves, it was a chance to help their colleagues and help feed back into the ravenous basketball culture that exists in our region.
In this part of Illinois, in central western Illinois, there is a great love for basketball, and you know, definitely what Coach Bell's doing here is part of it.
It's tremendous. I mean, it's been great to be back, and you know, I spoke at a clinic in Chicago about 3 weeks ago. There are about 20 coaches there. We've got more coaches out here right now than they did up in Chicago. This has been an area that's always loved its basketball, and from that standpoint, I've got great respect for it.
I went to clinics when I was a young coach, and you know, I got to walk with Coach Wooden and listen to him, and I mean, those influences on young coaches to do it the right way are so important. And if I can get out and share, it's not easy for me to, I got to run back and do practice and all that stuff. It's not an easy thing, but in the long run, it's going to help, you know, coaches and help the game.
I mean, I wouldn't be where I am today, you know, without the city of Quincy and without Quincy University. I mean, it was Cheryl Hanks, who was the athletic director here at the time, that gave me my first shot at becoming a head coach, and we were awful in year one, just miserable. I think we won 7 games all year long, people calling for my head and everything else. You know, but 9 years later, tried to pick up on a little bit, and then you know, moved on to Western Michigan as an assistant coach at the time, and now been the head coach there for 8 years. Seems hard to believe. But this place right here for me is where it all began, and got a lot of fond memories, a lot of great friends that I still stay in touch with.
And a big tip of the cap to John Perry and Marty Bell for doing such a great job putting on that clinic today. The news not so good for the Hawkeyes or for James Vandenberg. They lose to Minnesota today, 22-21, inexplicably. Our good buddy Jack Cornell said he always wanted to play a game in snow. He may not want to do that anymore as Illinois loses to Penn State in a heartbreaker 10-7. We do have better news for the University of Missouri in their first game in the SEC. I'm joking, it's still just a Big 12 game, but it's soon enough will be an SEC contest. Expect that announcement probably on Monday. Look at James Franklin. We beat him up a lot for his play last week, his inability to complete passes, lack of accuracy. But look at this. When you make runs like this, you kind of endear yourself to the fan base pretty quickly. That's a nice run, but it would be Franklin and the Tigers rallying today largely behind Henry Josie to force overtime and to actually rally back and beat Texas A&M despite the fact that the Tiger defense was barely existent the rest of the day. Mizzou with a big win today, so congratulations to the Tigers for getting off the schneid. We'll have more overtime for you coming up next.